of how serious those injuries are, but I'm told not life-threatening, but but pretty serious injuries and stable condition. And of course, we have our officer right now who was shot in the line of duty, 31-year-old officer, 25th District. His family by his side, very critical condition in the ICU since last Saturday. And to find out that it's a guy who had a long rap sheet, according to authorities, and in fact had committed violence against another cop, allegedly shot at another cop and tried to carjack somebody in Puerto Rico many years ago. Why was he here in Philadelphia? So many questions swirling around that as we all pray for our law enforcement locally in danger and injured in the line of duty for sure. We also have what's being reported as terrifying moments unfolding inside a Wawa when an employee, a worker at Wawa, came to face with an armed man. And this happened late last night into this morning. So police say the guy with the gun was standing at the rear entrance of the Cheltenham store late last night, overnight, and the Wawa employees had to hide in a room together while police and SWAT teams then converge to try to stop that gunman. So just some terrifying moments that we're hearing about, and then a standoff lasting for hours into the wee hours of this morning before finally, thank God, they were able to take that suspect, the gunman, into custody. No injuries reported. The Wawa employees reportedly shaken but not physically injured. So we're following that one. Down the Jersey Shore, and again, watching for the Supreme Court with a First Amendment ruling, watching SCOTUS, but locally, we're hearing a lot about the Jersey Shore. And whether we talk about the strong currents and some drownings, the 6-year-old child at the South Jersey camp in a swimming pool drowning, his mom speaking out. But I'm talking about in particular what happened last weekend and now we're learning more from the longtime girlfriend who is speaking out about her boyfriend who was killed down the Jersey Shore. Just a horrible situation. And this is the story of 59-year-old Patrick Despoto, okay? He was with his girlfriend, Ruth. They were on the beach. This is Ocean County, Seaside Park, on Sunday afternoon. And I wanted to put this up top because this weekend we have situations where, yes, we have a hot weekend in store. And this goes for this week as well if you're have family members down the shore in Ocean County and Ocean City. And we think about these pop-up storms that happen, especially this weekend. That's what's predicted to happen this weekend. So they listen to what his girlfriend says. This is tragedy strikes when a thunderstorm was approaching. And so she's on the beach enjoying an incredible day with her fiance, with her boyfriend, and the love of her life. And I just wanted you to hear what Ruth said happened, as really in her eyes, he died a hero. Listen in.
He said, "I'll be right back." And I said, "You have no business going back." And he says, "I'm just going to warn these kids because the sky is going to open. I'm just going to warn these kids 1 minute." And I said, "No."
59-year-old Patrick Despoto, apparently in his heart, simply could not rest, thinking about the kids he saw on the beach, not leaving fast enough to beat the threat of the storm. First, he made sure Fussell was safe in his truck. Then he turned back, down J Street, back to the beach.
And I called him 3 times, and he didn't respond.
Fussell waited 15 minutes for Despoto to return. Worried, she went back to find him face down in the sand and a stranger standing over him.
He was saying, "Help, help, 911. I administered mouth to mouth, and then the guy's wife was doing chest compressions.
EMS arrived. Despoto was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead.
The doctor said 45 minutes after a brain has no oxygen, you have to unplug him.
Oh.
And so I said, no, you can't.
Oh my God.
Seaside Park approved in April $50,000 to spend on 3 lightning warning systems to cover its 1.5-mile-long beach to warn of lightning danger long before the threat reaches the shoreline.
You can set the radius as to how far away you want it to track it, 5 miles, 10 miles, 15 miles. You can set the radius, and it will basically trigger those sirens to go off.
A few Jersey Shore beaches already have warning systems. This one sits atop the lifeguard station at Berkeley Township Beach, where in 2021, 19-year-old lifeguard Keith Pinto died when he was struck by lightning as he was trying to get visitors off the beach.
Yeah, and so thank you, 6ABC, a great report, as there weren't a lot of reports or follow-ups on this one, and it's so important if there's an impending storm, go ahead and get off the beach, because that lightning obviously travels up the beach so quickly. It can happen so fast. But in Ruth's mind, her love of her life, Patrick, really died a hero getting the kids off the beach, and that's when the tragedy and the lightning struck. I personally don't understand why they don't all have these systems. I know as a football mom and a sports mom, they have it on most high school fields. They'll be out, and then we have these storms coming through, and they'll get that alarm that goes off, and you see the kids and the coaches running off the field for practices, which are in the afternoon usually, and this afternoon. So I would just say, if it's 10, 15 miles out, you want to get off a field, you want to certainly get off the beach because it travels so quickly. So if you want to add to that, 855-839-1210. But Ruth, just our prayers are with you. I can't even imagine that heartache, and certainly the family, the friends, the community, everybody grieving now the death and planning the funeral for Patrick Despoto. Just such a tragic story that we want to talk about this morning. So we're watching the Supreme Court cases, and in particular, this J6 case hasn't come down yet, and we'll watch some of the other cases as we move through the day. I have a great guest coming up for you at 10:15, so I want to stay to time. But I do want to talk about Julian Assange. And this really is at the heart of something I talk all the time about, which is what I say, bias by omission. So what's being left out? And this morning I was watching, as because obviously down under and different time zones and that sort of thing. You think about Julian Assange, who has been at the core of years and years of talking about government persecution, the media, the role that the media plays in being a truth teller and calling out government. And think about our Constitution, the way that you think about First Amendment rights, and you think about what's happening right now with the media is supposed to be the watchdog. And when the government does wrong, the media is the one that's supposed to investigate, is supposed to unmask what's really happening with the government, right? And that's why, journalism is protected. Our First Amendment rights are protected. And that's why that word journalist is evolving. And I think that's why I always say Meg Brock, locally, one of our greatest journalists. Now, she's a local mom who became activated, if you will, when she saw something through her instincts was very wrong during the pandemic shutdowns, right? And she did all these Freedom of Information requests and unearthed a lot of information that the so-called mainstream media, so many people didn't think to do. Meg was living it. She did it. And to me, that's what's happening with journalism. We are evolving very quickly thanks to technology, social media. That's a good thing. Okay. And so we should not say, oh, journalism is dead, or, oh, I don't respect journalists. No, the idea here is that we need to look to the bright future of journalism and those true journalists who are doing right. So think about Julian Assange and what's happening. Now, he's back home in Australia, arriving overnight into the early morning hours, and we'll have the audio moving forward for you, as far as his wife by his side, speaking out, thanking so many supporters. But the bias that I just want to call out quickly is this. Donald Trump was hailed internationally more than he was here in America, made international headlines because a couple weeks ago, he spoke out and was asked about the WikiLeaks founder, Julian Assange. And Trump had said, yes, he would give very serious consideration to pardoning the WikiLeaks founder, Julian Assange, if he wins re-election. And so isn't it interesting now that all of a sudden, and everybody's like kind of taken aback, that in fact, today, as I'm speaking, Julian Assange is back home in Australia, a free man for the first time in 12 years after an American judge signed off on the unexpected, sudden plea deal this morning. Trump getting zero credit, Biden suddenly, his administration suddenly doing a switcheroo. What's going on here? So we'll talk about it moving forward. But I just wanted to put that out there. That Trump started the wheels in motion. And I think Biden did not want Trump to get that credit or talk about it in tomorrow night's debate. That's what's going on here. So we'll talk about this moving forward. I have a great guest right around the corner. So much breaking. Stay right there. 855-839-1210. Be right back.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth. And if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS has raised the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes in recent years. This hits hard if you're behind on your taxes. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. If you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
For some jobs around the house, it's okay to do it yourself. For others, not so much. Like your water heater. Replacing a water heater should only be done by a plumbing professional who can provide a safe installation for you and your family. For a long-lasting, reliable water heater, ask your pro about Bradford White. How you heat your water matters, and Bradford White water heaters are built to be the best for years of dependable service. To learn more and find an installation pro near you, visit BradfordWhite.com.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we have absolutely incredible offers and a plethora of both new and certified Volvos from which to choose. We are eager to offer amazingly competitive prices, plus an additional $1,000 Costco discount on all new Cherry Hill Volvos. When leasing or purchasing a new or certified Cherry Hill Volvo, you become a valued part of our team. Join Cherry Hill Volvo for the pricing and attention you deserve. I am Judith Krupnick, president of Cherry Hill Volvo.
The following is a paid commercial message.
Using credit cards could soon become a hassle in Pennsylvania. Some in the legislature are considering a multi-million-dollar giveaway to corporate megastores and may force you to pay for parts of your purchase in cash, while small businesses will have to manage an accounting nightmare. This mandate could also expose information about the private purchases you make. Prevent credit card chaos at guardyourcard.com/Pennsylvania. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Hey, this is Matt Spiegel, and on my podcast, The PBP, Voices of Baseball, we learn how the best broadcasters in the game, like the Reds' John Sadak, try to capture the greatness of the best players, like Ellie Dela Cruz.
He's a video game character. I mean, he is so athletic, and I think each moment is its own living entity, and I try to just match whatever that moment is.
The PBP, Voices of Baseball. We bring you the people who bring you the game. Find us on the Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Don't let woke win. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it
now. We have a lot developing, a lot breaking, of course. All eyes, so many eyes, I should say, in the nation, and looking at this case of a child, a 12-year-old little girl, and what happened to her. We've talked a lot about it, Jocelyn and Gary. Thinking about her family grieving. I know her mom has been speaking out, her grandfather's speaking out. And in many ways, you know, when you look at the recent poll that found a majority of Hispanic people here in America favoring this issue of the deportation of undocumented immigrants who are coming into this country right now. And perhaps, you know, when you look at the fact that if someone is coming from, let's say, a Venezuelan prison, and And I've talked about this, and they're coming into the country. Where will they hide? They will hide within the communities here in Philadelphia. We've heard this from residents here in Philadelphia and Chester County, points in South Jersey and across the nation. They will hide within the Hispanic community and then prey upon that very community, making the Hispanic community more vulnerable. Because, of course, we know that if we look at the stats, the crime stats within the Hispanic community, by and large, I can tell you this from years of news reporting in Philadelphia, I can tell you that community, by and large, is less responsible for the overall crimes. You see what I'm saying? So now all of a sudden, they're the ones being preyed upon. So it would make sense to me, at least, that they're saying, wait a minute, who are we letting into this country unvetted more recently or now? And we're scared because we're at the front lines of this issue, if you will. So just wanted to get the take of Austin, Texas attorney Kate Lincoln Goldfinch, who, as you know, has joined me many times before. And Kate, of course, an award-winning immigration and bankruptcy attorney, by the way. Kate, good morning. Thank you for joining me here.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. I just want to go through that with you and just try to think about what's happening. And I know Texas is in the spotlight because of the case with young Jocelyn. But as far as the stats, the statistics, where you have people within our Hispanic communities across America saying that, yes, they believe that, folks come, especially those coming here and they're believed to have criminal records, right, who are being released on purpose by countries like Venezuela. That's one in the headlines. What do you make of these latest stats and studies that we're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall the statistics, as you mentioned, show that immigrants commit crime at much, much, much lower rates than native-born U.S. citizens. But also, that, of course, does not mean that we shouldn't do our due diligence and screen people for criminal backgrounds. And I think ultimately, what my takeaway of a story like this and sort of the question in general is that we need more resources on the screening and processing of cases. Because, of course, the answer to the question is not no immigration. That would tank our economy. That would just be a sort of cutting off our nose to spite our face as a nation. And so what do we do instead? We put our resources toward the processing of immigration cases and immigrants themselves in a ethical, reliable, stable, way. And instead of what we have done in really the last 6 years is sort of these ad hoc presidential proclamation policies along the border due to, whoever's in office and whatever the mood is that day, that then sometimes get enjoined by the courts and don't go forward. So there's this chaos and confusion about border policies, and then Congress doesn't pass any immigration reform laws. And really the only support that, goes anywhere is for more enforcement along the border. But the truth is the Department of Homeland Security has $100 billion budget. I mean, it's more than any other federal law enforcement agency combined. And it's not really enforcement that we need more of. It's proper screening and vetting. And that means more judges, more asylum officers, more centers to help immigrants, assimilate. But that's not the stuff that, conservative politicians will go for. And so it's really, the story is so heartbreaking. And it's unfortunate overall because then the response to that is, oh, you see, immigrants are bad, immigrants are dangerous, and, immigrants are human. So, of course, there are some who are. But the response to that is not, let's stop immigration overall. That doesn't serve our country.
Well, I would say a couple things, and it has been, the last 6 years and especially since the pandemic struck, it sometimes feels like 20 years. And so we have to look back and think, I will say this, that, at a time when we were all being told to be careful traveling within our own country as American, citizens or whoever was here in America and around the world. We were being told, mask up, here at my work. I'm at Odyssey World headquarters, and we were told, hey, if you travel to go see your dad, across the country or in another state, you have to, work from home for 2 weeks. And we had a lot of restrictions in the country. So to me, I think to shut down the borders amid a global pandemic made sense. A lot of countries did it. That made sense. We also have an opioid epidemic as well, and a lot of other issues going on. I mean, I certainly think that we went from one situation where we were in a pandemic shutdown and then sort of opened up the floodgates to now there's, they're estimating like 11 million people, and that's the number that the government gives. So, as somebody who's an immigration attorney, I would imagine you would say, no, we need to control the floodgate of what's the number by the government? 2,000, 2,500 a day right now. That's where we are. And we don't have the resources to set it up as far as, like you're saying, don't we have to control these gates until we get people in place and fast track it?
Yeah, and I think, the big problem is that in this country, we have a need for immigrants and immigrant labor on all levels of the skill spectrum, in the STEM field and advanced engineering and technological field, all the way down to agriculture. So we have jobs for immigrants, but we don't have ways for them to immigrate here, and Congress can't pass immigration reform. So there's this situation in which there's actually an invitation to a lot of immigrants to come and work, but not a way for them to do it legally. Mm-hmm. And so that creates this situation at the border. Then also we have the asylum question. Mm-hmm. So processing asylum seekers in a way that is, humane and reliable and screens them and vets them is a sliver of the pie. But taking a step back, what we really as a country need to do is to answer the overall immigration question, because we need them.
Yeah.
And as long as we don't have a way for them to come legally, we're just going to keep having this situation at the border. It just is the reality. But unfortunately, it's such a political hot button and also a motivator for certain politicians who really, really benefit from fear mongering.
Yes,
from connecting.
Kate, here's the thing I will say to you, and one of the things I always say is we can't allow ourselves to be played on both sides, right? So if you look at some of the biggest issues, and I could go through the biggest issues that face us as Americans right now and that divide us, unfortunately, I always say to people, think about this. If you have in place a whole bunch of career politicians who make a ton of money, have guaranteed jobs, right? And they can fundraise off of a few hot button issues, and immigration's one of them. So I can take you through like the history. I always say, okay, when somebody says, oh, it's conservatives right now, but in the beginning of like President Obama's administration, he had 2 years where he had the White House, he had Congress, he had the House and the Senate. So if Democrats wanted during that time immigration reform, they could have done it. What I always say, Kate, is we have to remove ourselves and be smarter and not get played, because this is one of those hot button issues that all these career partisan politicians, they fundraise off of it. They make a ton of money off of it. And so the answer is, you're exactly right. It's not going to happen. We know historically it's not going to happen within the next 5 months, because it never does. But after the election, it needs to happen. They all need to come together. The problem right now is, because it has become political, we have essentially at border towns, you're in Texas, California, Arizona. These are humanitarian crises, are they not? And then we have different places opening up their prisons. I think for you, are you seeing this in court? And I would imagine, Kate, somebody like you must have clients who are saying, wow, this is so unfair. I'm following the rules. I stood in line. I waited my turn. This whole situation is upside down land unfair.
There is a sense of that with a lot of the immigrants who are in the country, who've been in the country, the Dreamers, for example. Some of the families, Biden's announcement last week, the Keeping American Families Together program, that aims at helping mixed status families where one spouse is a citizen and the other is undocumented. So families like that who've been in the United States for longer than 10 years, I think there's certainly a sense that they would love to see something that takes care of them, before newcomers. And in my mind, it's like, at the end of the day, what matters to me, of course, I care about my clients, and I know how amazing and brave immigrants are, and that's what motivates me in my professional life. But at the end of the day, what matters is the success of this country that we live in. It's our country, and of course, what makes us great is the diversity of the country, but also we're such an incredible nation that we have this switch we can flip when we're in a dire situation like we are now that's getting worse as our baby boomers age and as our economy really needs foreign workers. We are lucky enough that we can just say, yes, turn on the switch. We want incredible foreign workers to come here. Let's figure out a way to do it. And honestly, that's all that needs to happen. But I think the two main things that have to happen first are the U.S. populace, like all of us, people, non-leaders, need to start changing the rhetoric around immigrants and not buying into this immigrant equals bad language, because it's wrong, and we have to stop believing it. And there's a lot of media that pushes that on us, And so
by the way, the immigration community, as far as the immigrant community, and I will say this, I can speak to this here in Philadelphia. You don't have to be a border city or a border state. I hear this all the time, and people call into my show all the time because they're saying, look, we don't want to be painted by the same brush as, the person who was just let out of a prison somewhere in South America or China or, around the world. And we don't want to be painted within that brush because that's not who we are. You know what I'm saying? And so I think you're right. We have to stop that rhetoric and understand what's happening. But part of it, Kate, has to be that we at least shut this down until we can, I would say, fast track those, like you're saying, with judges, law enforcement, everything, fast track it, get it all in place so that we can deal with everything. It's overwhelming.
Yeah, I do think a massive expenditure of resources toward processing cases would help. And that is something that's within the president's purview. But part of what's so tough about this for, any president really, is that there's only so much the executive can do. We have checks and balances in this country, and if we want to change the structure of the way we immigrate people to this country, that has to happen through Congress. The president can do a little parole program here and a little border policy there, and that might get blocked by the courts, and then it'll be different next week. And that's essentially how immigration policy has been made in the last decade, and it's absurd. It's absurd. It's not reliable. It doesn't bring the right kind of resources. It doesn't bring the stability that we need. And so if we can change the conversation, we can start holding our leaders accountable. We can get Congress to actually push some type of reform package through that answers the question of the undocumented population in the United States. It brings them a way to come out of the shadows. That answers the question of how do we immigrate more workers to this country in a way that doesn't have people waiting for 10 years just to find a good foreign worker. How do we, systematically process asylum seekers in a way that we can handle? And what kind of funding do we need to do all of that? And let's as a country come together and pass a law that answers all those questions for us, and then it's in place, and then we can just move forward. And honestly, if we could do that, we would answer. It would solve so much of this chaos. But the problem is that we don't have a Congress that will do anything about it. That ultimately is the problem for all of us. And whatever side of this you're on, it's Congress that's creating this problem.
Yeah, agreed. Well, Kate Lincoln Goldfinch of Kate Lincoln Goldfinch Law, we really appreciate you. And as you're saying, I hope that we can have the conversation come together on some of these important issues. Kate, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So Kate is an attorney there in Austin, Texas, as I say, and bankruptcy attorney as well as an immigration attorney and expert, has been doing this a long time. So I'd love to get your reaction as we're having a conversation. And there was a lot in there to unpack. 855-839-1210 is the number to call. Be right back.
Have you questioned your doctor about symptoms like low energy, digestive issues, brain fog, joint pain, just not feeling right, just something is off, and you're only left settling for unanswered questions? Or worse, being told it's just because you're getting older. You don't have to settle for unanswered questions any longer. With Younger Me MD's exclusive VIP membership program, aging doesn't have to make you feel older. Their proven 3-step process and functional medicine approach helps you discover the underlying causes of your issues. As a member, you get access to high-level personalized treatment plans, as well as discounts on treatments and supplements. If you're ready to live the life you deserve, it's time to learn about Younger Me MD's VIP membership program. Call 445-266-4024. 445-266-4024. That's 445-266-4024. And schedule your consultation with Younger Me, MD.
2 legends, 1 can. Jack and Coke, the #1 cocktail in the world, is now available in a can. Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey mixed with Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola Zero Sugar are available in a can. Is there any better time than summer grilling season for a cold Jack and Coke? Jack and Coke in a can. Born for the backyard. Available at your local PA Fine Wine and Good Spirits store. Go to finewineandgoodspirits.com. Please drink responsibly.
Whiskey Specialty, 7% ABV. Jack Daniel Distillery, Lynchburg, Tennessee. Jack Daniels and Old No. 7 are registered trademarks of Jack Daniels Properties, Inc. Coca-Cola is a trademark of the Coca-Cola Company.
We don't care who you vote for in the upcoming election. You know why? Because this is not a political ad. Jim Cipriotti and the Retire Ready Financial Group meet with people every day wondering if they should be doing something different with their money because it's an election year. At Retire Ready Financial Group, we want you to know where your money is, how it's performing, and if the market does go down, how does it affect your retirement? We call it a portfolio snapshot, and we do it at no charge. Our goal is for you to have confidence as you enter retirement, confidence to spend, and confidence that you won't run out of money. Let's vote those election worries right out of your retirement. For your complimentary portfolio snapshot, call 610-894-7415. That's 610-894-7415, or go to retirereadyfg.com. Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC. NPN number 2083768.
Why are you paying for an AC system that's struggling to keep you cool? If you hear something funny, smell something burny, your AC is frozen or leaking water, or even feel warm air coming from your AC, it's time to call CNC. CNC Heating and Air Conditioning, your local Lennox dealers, can make it a no-sweat summer for your entire household with one phone call. 0% financing options available. Don't wait until it's too late. Visit cc-hvac.com to request your estimate today.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ziprecruiter.com/free.
Hey, Clementon. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
Yes, trigger alert. I know you're triggered, and my past guest always triggers. I saw the phones just start to light up when she said the word newcomer, but I want to have the conversation, and you know I do, and I want you to hear the talking points of a Texas immigration attorney who has her clearly has her own political views. And I want to have the conversation with everybody and open that up, right? And that's what I do. And I know I'm triggering many of you. But this says, we think about 400 plus, and that's confirmed by the government stats and the latest from law enforcement, that out of just the latest batch of 400 plus people who came across our border illegally, and fears that some of them are members of ISIS, that the terror risk and those alerts continue to go out. And this from the Biden administration's own top federal officials. And so this is a real concern going on here. And this, as we're just awaiting, especially some of the J6 and immunity rulings at the Supreme Court, we don't have that as of right now. But I want to take some of your calls because I know my last guest is triggering many of you. Let's start out with Joe in Delaware. Hey, Joe.
Can you hear me?
Hey, Joe. Yes. Good morning.
Good morning. Failed in that conversation. I mean, I understand the attorney's position, but, from an American's position, two things. That border is costing tens of thousands of American lives. The drugs that are pouring across it are just crazy. Secondly, when you're listening to the news and you know that they're loading up credit cards and giving free stuff to illegal immigrants, and our veterans are going without, and I travel the streets of Philadelphia all the time, and I'm in poverty, and I see how families are struggling. And our government places an emphasis on taking care of people that aren't even part of our country before they take care of Americans.
Yep.
That's wrong. And this president that we have in office right now, he has been a lifetime politician. What is his record on the border? He's had a whole lifetime in politics.
Joe, you're exactly right. And that's why, I said to Kate, and you heard the pushback then. So she called the individuals newcomers, right? They're not newcomers. That's one of the new words that Biden made up. They're not newcomers. No. They're invaders coming to our country illegally, and even our immigrant community existing in America, the polls show are for what Trump is saying, the mass deportation of these individuals, because among them are some of the most dangerous predators who are just walking across the border. And I think that speaks volumes, does it not? This information that we're getting from multiple different, and this is like CBS News reporting this. So I think that speaks volumes to it. But you're exactly right. All of this, and the one thing I agree with Kate on is how political this is. It is political. That's true. But we can't blame you can't blame the Trump administration or Trump for the failings of what is happening right now. And then to talk about the fact that, we need to hire more people. Agreed. And while we hire them, let's shut her down. If we don't have things in place, how is it logical, right? How is it logical if we don't have what we need to process 11 to 20 million people? How is it logical that we just keep this thing open?
And I'll tell you something, and it goes beyond humanity. This is really about something completely different. It's very deceptive, and it should be investigated. Are some of these illegal immigrants getting ID cards? And are they going to be able to vote? Because then I think you get to the root of the real reason why this is happening at this particular time. This isn't about saving, the world's humanity as much as it is controlling the power.
Yeah. And that's it. We know that we've had population loss, especially in blue cities, look at on the East Coast, Philadelphia, New York. Look at California, mass exodus. So blue cities, blue states, mass exodus. And so this is a replenishment of what I think the Biden administration views as voters who are going to vote Biden, going to vote D. But the weird piece of this is that the existing immigrants, and I have no idea what their political skew was, I think now have turned red. Because they look at this and say, whoa, this is crazy. And we, this immigrant community with green cards or waiting in line, we are the ones on the front lines being victimized by these crimes.
Well, and they look at it a lot the same way. I'm in the construction industry, so I have a really good I get feedback, and they're looking at it like we're out here working our butts off, and these guys are coming over here getting free stuff left and right, and they're not happy about it.
Right. Oh,
they're trying to carve their path through hard work and through what they need to do, and these illegals are coming across, and they're just getting free stuff without any questions being asked. And while a lot of Americans right now are suffering, there's a lot of poverty in Philadelphia itself.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're the inner city, I think I would be a little mad about it. You're out there struggling, and illegal immigrants are being put up in hotels and given cards for various things to be able to purchase things, and without making any contribution to the country.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree
that's my
with you.
perspective.
Joe, I appreciate
Thank
your
you.
perspective. I'm going to move on to, we have Dave in Levittown. Hey, Dave.
Yeah, Dawn. Can you hear me all right?
Hey, Dave,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Dawn, I love you, but I could not believe you were agreeing with that attorney that it's somehow incumbent upon Congress to fix this. First of all, we already were.
It is. It actually is. Congress does need to stop campaigning off of it, right, and fix this. But that's why I pointed out to her the one time when Obama was in office, his first 2 full years, Obama had the House, the Senate, and the executive branch, and that was Joe Biden was the vice president. Why didn't they get this done then? They didn't. They did not.
Story. Well, first of all, we already were, prior to this catastrophe, we already were processing and allowing into our country 1 million illegal immigrants. 1 million a year. You look at the numbers, and it's on the website, the government's website, 1 million people. Secondly, you kept saying 11 million people are here illegally. They've been saying that since 2002. I remember talking about this in 2002. They were saying there's 11 million illegal immigrants. You do the math and extrapolate, it's closer to 30 million. Now, easy. It's not 11 million anymore.
Well,
it's
11
30
million, 11 million within within these. I guess that's where the word newcomer might be correct. The newcomer. In other words, 11 million have come in just recently, on top of everybody else.
Yes, we already are processing. We already were. I thought we were doing a pretty good job. It's just the people that are coming across now are impatient. They can't wait. They don't want to do it legally. We already were processing 1 million people. I guess that's my main point. We already were processing a pretty good amount, and that was sufficient, I believe, to keep our economy growing. And the people now, I think they're just, it's not going to end up well. So that's it, Dawn. Thanks so much.
Thank you. No, I appreciate you, and you're exactly right. As far as the processing goes, it's 1 million. Became lawful permanent residents, and that's a 2022 number. And so that was a 44% over the green cards issued in 2020. But I'll point out to you, obviously, we had the pandemic shutdowns, which I think when you have a worldwide pandemic, I would say, I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, wherever you are. To me, it was appropriate to shut down all borders, shut her down, when we have a worldwide pandemic in the beginning. And we didn't know what the heck we were dealing with at that point. Nobody could know. I think everybody supported that in a bipartisan way to shut it down. So we'll talk. Let's continue the conversation around the corner. I have to take a quick break. 855-839-1210. I appreciate your insights. I do. And I love having the conversation. We'll be right back.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
Everyone in an election for President of the United States will critically examine all of the issues and make a decision.
There you go.
So if you've wondered how elections work, everybody kind of sits down and they take their notes and they look at the issues and they say, okay, I like this issue, or this guy was better with that policy. And then you go to the ballots on election day, or you do a mail-in ballot or an absentee or whatever you might do, and you make your choice.
Imagine that.
How elections work with Kamala Harris, coming up tonight at 7 on PBS.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
I want to tell you about my friend, my dentist, and the master of dental implants, Dr. Mike Veneria at Veneria Dental. If you're getting ready for a special event, don't forget your smile, because it's going to be in all the pictures. Get your smile special occasion ready by making an appointment with Dr. Mike today. I've been telling you about Dr. Mike for years. My entire family goes to Dr. Veneria because the level of care and commitment to dental excellence that Dr. Mike and his staff delivers to every patient is unmatched. He's been delivering results that surpass expectations, and that has made him a top dentist in New Jersey for 10 consecutive years. So if you've been on the fence about getting that dental procedure done, give Dr. Veneria a call. I promise you won't be disappointed. With 2 locations to serve you in Cinnaminson and Woodbury, schedule your free implant consultation today for your perfect smile. Call 856-786-2020 or visit veneriadental.com.
Window Nation presents the 1210 WPHT Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation. Listen the first Wednesday of every month as Kale and Company shines a spotlight on a local veteran, highlighting their remarkable commitment to the community and their exceptional service in the military. Presented by Window Nation. At Window Nation, there's nothing more important than giving back to the communities we serve. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
Harry, if you watch any more of those stupid financial shows, I'm filing for divorce.
How am I going to keep up with our retirement accounts?
At JML Financial Group, we want you watching your grandkids playing soccer and sunsets in Hawaii, not the latest rumor of a market crash. Surprisingly, with proper income planning, the stock market shouldn't even be a concern. The money came in every 2 weeks while you worked. It should be the same in your retirement years. Let us show you how. Call JML Financial Group today at 856-925-6674. That's 856-925-6674. Or at jmlfinancialgroup.com. So, when your neighbor's sunbathing in the front yard,
Harry, you're an idiot. Get away from the window.
keep your eyes focused where they should be, on enjoying your retirement. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
The following is a paid commercial message.
Using credit cards could soon become a hassle in Pennsylvania. Some in the legislature are considering a multi-million-dollar giveaway to corporate megastores and may force you to pay for parts of your purchase in cash, while small businesses will have to manage an accounting nightmare. This mandate could also expose information about the private purchases you make. Prevent credit card chaos at guardyourcard.com/Pennsylvania. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
You know, this week, just to bring it locally, tomorrow, they're at the Museum of the American Revolution, which, if you remember the Zioli show, Rich Zioli and Greg Stocker and I were there when it was for the debut of the Museum of the American Revolution on South 3rd Street in Philadelphia. They're having a free full-day adult citizenship education seminar talking about the naturalization process and the test. We should actually do that one time throughout the show, take the test and see who can get all the answers correctly. Sometimes people who come to this country legally and go through the citizenship process are, first of all, more knowledgeable sometimes, which is kind of a sad commentary on us, more knowledgeable about citizenship, what it means, and also about our history. So I just wanted to bring that to you. And yes, in the fiscal year of 2023, the USCIS this is a government number, received a record 10.9 million immigration applications. Okay, and that's higher. Typically, it's about 9 million applications. And then over the years, usually it's about, as Joe and Dave were pointing out, about 1 million a year get a green card. So that those numbers, or 1 million a year, I should say, become lawful permanent residents, I should say. So is that enough? Is 1 million a year enough? Or is 11 million should all 11 million in 1 year? What is the number? And I think that is a number that Congress, not necessarily a president who's trying to do a Band-Aid approach because of different issues, but I think at the end of the day, Congress does need to look at these numbers and say, what is the right number? And we're not there. I think we can all agree that 10.9 million in 1 year means that we probably have, some people are saying up to 20 million over a little over a year because of the gotaways. I want to take some of your calls on this one. Let's start with, is it Dana in Delaware? Hey, Dana.
Hi, good morning, Dawn.
Good morning.
Yeah, real quick, I have 3 questions. Number one, we presently, do we not, have an immigration laws on the books?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let me ask you something. They want to change the immigration laws.
Mm-hmm.
The present immigration law, are they enforced?
No, obviously not.
What? Okay. What makes everybody think that if they change the laws, they will enforce the new laws?
Yeah.
It's ludicrous. They're nuts.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, here's the thing. You want to talk about a danger to democracy or a danger to America? Hello. The estimates, just, and I'm looking, it's fiscal year. So the fiscal year, right, ends July 1st. So we have to think about fiscal year. So let's just say it's 10.9 million. That's the documented individuals who filled out the paperwork, just came over the border, right, and filled out the paperwork. So there are people who filled out the paper. How many did not fill out the paperwork? Because we know it's just constant, just waves and waves and waves of people. And you see them on the different stations, even residents of border towns are showing it, right? So obviously they're not following the law, and we haven't been following the law. That's a great point. What is the point? Is it futile to say, oh yeah, well, we're going to have all this reform? They're not going to follow it anyway. That's a fantastic point. And at what point do you hold the president accountable? You know what I mean? So if they want to say that one certain president elected in 2016, well, he's a danger to democracy. What is really a danger to democracy? And I would simply say to this current administration, be careful what you wish for, Joe Biden and future presidents of the United States of America, because unless this president is given the immunity, the basic immunity that every president deserves, why not hold? If I'm the parents of Jocelyn, the child, and some people are calling her a woman, she's a child, she's a 12-year-old girl. Did you see the details? And I've reported on some of them. I can't even wrap my brain around the grief and just the shock of different people across the country who are experiencing the wrath of Joe Biden's border policy. Oh my God, should he be held now accountable because he let these people over? It is criminal, is it not? Let's get to Marianne. Let's get to Marianne in I think Bucks County. Hey, Marianne.
Hi, Don. One of the things I wanted to comment is that Joe Biden's recent attempt at unconstitutional amnesty for the illegal immigrant spouses of U.S. citizens is that it's completely unfair to all those couples who've, one of the spouses has come here legally and they're applying for the fiancé visa. That takes years in many cases to obtain. So what he's doing is that's in essence rewarding those illegal immigrants who were able to evade U.S. law for a lot of years and let them jump ahead of the line to the people who are legitimately waiting in line to obtain those fiancé visas. And the other thing is, as far as mass deportation, I don't think it'll be it won't take all 10 million to go, because I can assure you that if they start with all the current illegal alien criminals that are under deportation orders, if they start going after them and then go to all the people who have other deportation orders and stop allowing work permits, I think a lot of people are just going to turn around and just give up and go home.
Agreed. And that's just it. Everybody in the world knows Joe Biden is going to let you in. So until we stop that and actually show the images at the border where they're effectively shutting it down because we can't handle more, and also, how do they know to go to cities like New York where they get all the gift cards and the hotel? How do they somehow know where to go? Do you notice that? That's another piece of
NGOs.
this.
I think that's another avenue that President Trump, when he goes into office, we need to defund any NGO that was involved in the human trafficking of humans here and across the border.
Amen. Agreed. Great calls. We need to take a quick break around the corner. I really appreciate you. 855-839-1210. It's infuriating, and it should not be politicized. I will say on this side of it, what hurts my heart is that people are turning a blind eye because it doesn't support their political views to what is happening with the violence. And the violence is on some of the most vulnerable people, our children, little girls, women, and these are sex assaults, torture, rape, and murder. This is not just a burglary or a smash and grab, which would be bad enough. And I've talked about the cartels, and we're linking up with current gangs or creating new gangs, etc. But these stories, if these just take out the immigration issue, I can tell you as a longtime news reporter that the story of young Jocelyn, a little girl who is grabbed and taken under a bridge, and for 2 hours, these two illegal criminals who are here illegally, who were processed by Biden's administration, and these two guys tortured her and tied her and ravaged her in sick ways for 2 hours. They say she suffered 2 hours before throwing her body, still bound, still tied up, throwing it into the water. Oh my God. How can any of us, no matter, it should not be political. And yet there are those, even the immigration attorney who I just spoke to, it's just this cold, apathetic attitude because it is political for them, and they're ignoring what their president is doing to our people. It's horrifying to me, but I think it's important to understand and to witness it and to hear it, because these are well-educated people. 855-839-1210, the number to call. I appreciate you. Got to take a break. Be right back.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-688-6641.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-688-6641. That's 800-688-6641.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. You may know me from my book, Money Hacks. You may know me from my radio shows. And you may even know me from some of these commercials. But listen, I'm teaching stuff that people need to learn about money. In fact, my favorite topic is money. So go to investorschooling.com and you will learn things about money that you never even knew existed. We will teach you things about real estate, about the stock market, and about how to use your IRAs properly. Go to investorschooling.com and sign up for a complimentary class this Thursday night at 7 o'clock. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinitz from Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
This July 4th, hear the boom of the fireworks, the sizzling of your grill, and the sigh of joy at the first sight of your brand new kitchen. Thanks to dynamite deals at Colonial Marble and Granite. Now enjoy $0 down and 0% monthly interest for 18 months with the purchase of a marble, granite, or quartz kitchen countertop during our Independence Day sale. Visit any Colonial showroom to discover our dazzling variety of natural and engineered stone and take advantage of these deals. But hurry, while liberty is everlasting, our sale ends on July 8th. Restrictions apply. Visit colonialmarble.net for details.
Don't walk around with t-shirts and cover-ups at the pool or the beach this summer. Lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days with NJ Diet. That's nearly twice as fast as weight loss injections and without any of those nasty side effects. Lose weight the natural way, quickly and safely. Locations close by or available worldwide with live online video consultations. Get slimmer without any shots. Call 855-5NJ-DIET to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days guaranteed. NJDiet.com. Lose the weight for good.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
We have so much breaking news this morning with SCOTUS, Supreme Court, releasing its latest batch of rulings. At first, it was believed that they would be done by tomorrow, and now there are predictions that, in fact, the Supreme Court may continue at least through next Monday. But I had seen the headline in The Hill, kind of a provocative for The Hill, provocative headline, as they had said that the Supreme Court of the United States of America is reaching its climax and these controversial rulings coming soon. That was one of the headlines. In this one, as far as SCOTUS goes, we do have the Supreme Court ruling in favor of the Biden administration as far as big tech censorship. One case, Judge Alito warning that that the country may come to regret this decision. And this is interesting to me because I believe that Amy Coney Barrett, she was one who went with the majority. So it's a 6-3 decision. So the most conservative justices, Samuel Alito, Justice Clarence Thomas, Justice Neil Gorsuch, are dissenting. So they disagree with the other 6, right? So the Supreme Court rejected a challenge against the Biden administration, accusing it of improperly cooperating and colluding with big tech companies to try to censor social media posts. And this had to do with the COVID-19 pandemic and the so-called misinformation. And so what they wrote, and this was written by Justice Amy Coney Barrett in the majority. So Amy Coney Barrett went with the others. She went against the other 3 conservatives I just mentioned. So she wrote, to establish standing, the plaintiffs must demonstrate a substantial risk that in the near future they will suffer an injury that's traceable to a government defendant. I know this is a lot of, legalese and jargon, and redressable by the injunction they seek. No plaintiff has carried that burden. So what I see here, this is a narrow ruling. It was, as I recall, and forgive me because there's so many cases, as I recall, this was brought in part by, I believe, Louisiana and Missouri. Yes, I'm looking at Louisiana and Missouri. So the Supreme Court, was, these are Republican attorneys general in Missouri and Louisiana. They brought this forward. The lower court had barred multiple White House officials from reaching out to companies like Google, like Facebook, like X, social media, about moderating and controlling their content. Okay. And so this was then, it was popped up to the highest court in the land. It's a 6-3 decision. What I see here in truth is that I think that, we know that Coney Barrett is a conservative justice, Trump appointed, right? But I think it's a very narrow ruling. And what I see here is what she's saying is that the Republican attorneys general did not make their case. They did not make their case. So it's a very narrow ruling. And so Justice Alito, though, and his more conservative colleagues, not happy. He warned that the actions of officials in a case like this, he says, were blatantly unconstitutional. And Alito is saying the country may come to regret the court's failure to call this out. He wrote, "The record before us is vast," meaning it's the constitutional protections. He wrote, "Purely private entities like newspapers are not subject to the First Amendment, but government officials may not coerce those private entities to suppress the speech." I suspect, I'm going to say this. I agree with Judge Alito. I suspect most of you do. But what I also, as I'm reading this, and it just came out within the past hour, what I see here is that Coney Barrett, Justice Barrett, she's saying, you guys didn't make your case. I think this very issue will be tested again. That's what I'm going to predict. This is not over. Because to me, the fact that we know for a fact, and we hear it too often, and we have whistleblowers talking about this, but we know for a fact that this White House has worked to shut down media reports and has done intimidation through various channels. And I think we're going to see another case like this, that I hope that the plaintiffs, the attorneys general from other states, will make a better case. Because I think overall, it's clear to me that this administration, and then even we saw newly retired CIA agents, remember this one, were suddenly, hired by social media entities to then work with channels within the White House. And they were shutting all of us down. They shut down the New York Post. So not a great day for the First Amendment. We'll see. My take is we're going to see this one again. 855-839-1210, the number to call. I didn't talk a lot this morning about George Latimer. And these are Democrats duking it out. This is the case of George Latimer ousting Jamal Brown in New York 16th District. These are all Democrats. And so this is a case where you have a far left progressive in Jamal Bowman, I should say, part of the squad. He was anti-Israel. He was viewed as anti-Semitic. He was the guy accused of purposely pulling the fire alarm. Remember that? And that's why it's a joke to me that when we look at the J6ers who are accused of, in air quotes, obstructing Biden from officially being, brought in as president and doing obstruction, I don't know why Bowman was not accused of obstruction, because he clearly pulled that fire alarm and clearly shut down Congress. Clearly. But you see, there are different rules for different fools. So one of the headlines, head for the fire exit, Jamal. But, he's now out of there, and he was primaried, and he's a loser. And I'm glad that he's labeled, he's too far left for even a Democrat district here. And so Latimer will be heavily favored to defeat, though, Republican Madeleine Brame in the November 5th upcoming general election. So now you have Latimer coming off fresh off of this primary win, because he primaried his fellow Democrat, I should say, and an incumbent beat him. But this Democrat now is expected to move forward and win in the November 5th election. What would be amazing to me if the Republican Madeleine Brame, if she could pull this out in the deep blue Bronx. Wow, that would be wow. I think that a Republican has not won that district since like the 1940s. That would be incredible. And I know that Trump is hoping and praying for that. It's unlikely, but wouldn't that be amazing? And maybe it's some of what look at how fired up you are this morning. When we think about our situation in this country, and it's not even to me anymore, as far as the immigration issue, I don't even think we should call what's happening an immigration issue. It's simply a border crisis, because there is, I've called it a crosswalk. We don't have a border. And remember that, as Democrats will say, well, no, Joe Biden, he put in some border control. Remember that 2,500 they have to shut it off at 2,500. So we're still allowing 2,500 people a day that we know of coming in, and we cannot even deal with the processing properly of the people who've just recently come in by the millions. It's nuts. This is all nuts. 855-839-1210 is the number to call. But I think that Bowman, a far left progressive, the rejection of this incumbent, to me, is some common sense a glimmer of common sense coming back to the progressive side of things in Democrat cities like New York. Now, I believe here in Philadelphia, we really gave our verdict on progressives in the last mayoral election. And I suspect that the Democrat Party will see a reset. I hope the biggest reset happens November. You and I both hope, right? November 5th. We need a reset. We need to push the reset button and reject all of these individuals who are partisan career politicians who have put us in danger and shown us they're apathetic. They don't care. They don't care about your kids or your grandkids. They don't care about me coming into work in the middle of the night. They don't care about any of us. If they did, if they really were caring, if they really were concerned about our safety, why in God's name would they have allowed these dangerous predators to just walk in? It's heart-wrenching. It really is. 855-839-1210. I do have some breaking news around the country. I'm looking up at a screen. That's why I said country. Around the corner. I'm Dawn Stensland. 855-839-1210 at Dawn Stensland on X social media. Be right back.
Join Team Kale & Company once again this year for the Bend to Shore Bike Tour on Sunday, July 21st. From Philly to Atlantic City, you can do the ride or just donate to support the cause. Visit bendtoshore.org. That's shore.org. Let's show everyone how WPHT and Odyssey supports law enforcement. Bend to Shore is organized by Families Behind the Badge Children's Foundation. FBBCF provides financial relief for the families of fallen fallen and injured first responders, and supports the Police Youth Alliance, which fosters a positive relationship between police and youth. Sponsored by Gelman Law. Need a criminal defense attorney or personal injury? Visit GelmanLawFirm.com.
Living with Lyme, a condition that you may have and not even know it. John DeMasi here, host of Health Watch, Sundays at 8 and again at 4 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Yes, you may be living with Lyme, even if you've had some kind of treatment. Dr. Molly Fantasia and the healthcare team at Innovative Medical Associates have dealt with this condition and have helped hundreds over the years live successfully with Lyme, mainly through the use of medical hydration. They've been able to reduce many of the symptoms associated with Lyme and allow their patients a better quality of life.
I want to get you through your initial challenge, working alongside with my physicians, and then get you to a place where we are looking at maintaining your immune system, maintaining your quality of life.
If you suspect you or someone you know has Lyme disease, visit innovativemedicalassociates.com on the web to schedule a free initial consultation or call 856-489-0505.
When you look at your kids or grandkids, you can't help but wonder. You wonder what their world will be like in 20 years. Then you think about yourself. What will your life be like when you step away from work and into retirement? There are a lot of things you can't control, but with the right planning, there are some things you can. At Spectrum Wealth Partners, our Portfolio X-Ray is designed to show you how you're doing so far and what your monthly income will look like in the future. In other words, they can take you from wondering to knowing. So take control of your financial future. Call today for a complimentary evaluation. 856-322-8686 or at SpectrumWP.com. And tune into The Retirement Spectrum with Alan Cohen, Saturdays at 3 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Advisory services offered through Concurrent Investment Advisors, LLC, and SEC-registered investment advisor. Concurrent Investment Advisors, LLC, and Spectrum Wealth Partners are not affiliated companies.
If you're in the restaurant, hospitality, or casino business and you're not using a PDQ POS system, it's time to make the switch. PDQ POS will not only save you time, effort, and money, but it's the fastest, easiest, and most reliable POS available. That's why PDQ POS has been the top-rated restaurant management system for over 35 years. Whether you have a single location restaurant or thousands of locations, PDQ can help your business succeed. Visit PDQPOS.com.
The following is a paid commercial message.
Using credit cards could soon become a hassle in Pennsylvania. Some in the legislature are considering a multi-million-dollar giveaway to corporate megastores and may force you to pay for parts of your purchase in cash, while small businesses will have to manage an accounting nightmare. This mandate could also expose information about the private purchases you make. Prevent credit card chaos at guardyourcard.com/Pennsylvania. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
From your kitchen table to our airwaves, the Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
So I do want to get into the latest, and you'll hear some audio from the Julian Assange, the wife of Julian Assange. We want to talk about this. It's an important case we want to get to. By the way, you know, some of you have a Susie Cool, and happy birthday, Carrie, but some of you talking about the fact that Susie Cool wrote this, you know, why is it that so many people, you're following them and we all know each other? And then does this ever happen where you swear that you were following somebody within our group and then you realize like, oh, wait a minute, I'm not following that. I swear I was. So I apologize if I'm not. I have to go through today, do that house cleaning, make sure that I'm following you. There are ways that we can create our own groups too, or put like hashtag the original Zioli Army or that sort of thing. So I have to be better for sure. I clean out the closets and clean out the social media and make sure I'm following all of you. So I apologize. I'm with Susie. Sometimes I say, I swear I was following. I know I was following that person. What's going on here? It's a conspiracy. 855-839-1210. We want to get to all of this and more, but I just want to tidy up here and talk about the Julian Assange case. So as you well know, there were some fast-moving developments that were occurring, and this is overnight into this morning, having to do with Julian Assange. Remember that he is somebody who's the WikiLeaks founder. I don't know how you feel about him because I know many people are split over the issue of Julian Assange. I think people have evolved. This has been going on for a very long time, right? With Julian Assange. So he's back in his home of Australia, a journalist. Some people saying that this is a great day for journalists. I know the New York Times is not happy. So they're going back and forth on this as far as who now supports what has happened, who thinks this is terrible. But the WikiLeaks founder, Julian Assange, gets to celebrate his 52nd birthday at home. He turns 52 next Tuesday, July 2nd, landing back home in Australia, a free man for the first time in 12 years after a U.S. judge has just signed off on this plea deal, which by all accounts, everybody is saying was sudden and unexpected. Landing back home to cheers at the airport there in the capital of Australia. And he gets off the aircraft. He waves to the crowds, kind of walks across the tarmac. His wife speaking out. Her name is Stella. They have 2 children. And so he pulls her into a hug and lifting her off the floor before they kiss. And then she spoke out, his attorney speaking out. Can we just play a little bit of that audio with Stella Assange speaking out just this morning?
Julian wanted me to sincerely thank everyone. He wanted to be here. But you have to understand what he's been through. He needs time. He needs to recuperate. And this is a process. I ask you, please, to give us space, to give us privacy, to find our place, to let our family be a family before he can speak again at a time of his choosing. I think it revealed how uncomfortable the United States government is in fact of having these arguments aired, because the fact is that this case is an attack on journalism, it's an attack on the public's right to know, and it should never have been brought. Julian should never have spent a single day in prison. But today we celebrate, because today Julian is free.
This is a huge win for Australia and for Australian democracy. This is a huge win for free speech. This is a huge win for Australia that our Prime Minister stood up to our ally, the United States, and demanded the return of an Australian citizen. And that Julian came home today.
This is one of his attorneys.
The product of 14 long years of legal battles, political advocacy, and ongoing campaigning, not just by us, but by so many people in this community. A global movement was created around Julian and the need to protect free speech, and it's that global movement that has led to his release today. I really want to thank everyone who has joined us in this fight, who have supported us along the way, because without that support and the campaigning that's been done, we just wouldn't be in this position.
So let's think about this for a minute, that Trump, as I said last hour, Trump fairly recently had been asked about Julian Assange. He had said that he would strongly consider giving him a full pardon. I don't know. And remember it was Pam Anderson. Remember, wasn't it Pam Anderson, I want to say, that she had posted pictures begging Trump during his presidency to issue a pardon. But I think we've learned more and have more perspective about weaponization of government and the role of media and that sort of thing. I'm fascinated by the issue of Assange, how so many people have evolved in the situation. But just remember that President Obama, back in early 2017, you may remember, before he left office, he commuted the sentence of 35-year-old Chelsea Manning, who was that Army private convicted of taking a ton of all the secret, diplomatic information and then leaking it to Julian Assange. And so that's a piece of this. I'm not in the, this is again bias by omission. It's weird to me in the so-called mainstream media coverage. I don't hear many or any people really talking about the fact that I think Trump was an impetus in this. Biden did not want Trump to have that victory if they were asked about it tomorrow at the debate, number one, but also the fact that it's a little hypocritical if you think about it, because Julian Assange was the journalist who was given this information by the leaker Chelsea Manning, who then was the intelligence analyst, who was the person who gave up, especially the footage of a U.S. airstrike in Baghdad. Remember this? And the military logs from Afghanistan and the Iraq wars and all those U.S. diplomatic cables. Assange has won multiple awards for publishing, for journalism. And so, I think for Biden, I think this administration, the reason it was sudden is that they did not want the bad look, because they know that many independents care about this issue of weaponization of government. And this is a huge issue and a singular issue for so many Americans. I don't think Biden wanted to let this linger. And then on top of it, you like you just heard his attorneys saying that the Australian government, other foreign governments saying, no, you've got to let him come home to Australia. So he's a whistle. It's weird to me how, on one hand, Julian Assange was labeled by many as evil. Chelsea Manning, though, an American activist, a whistleblower. Who was Chelsea Manning? As I recall, Chelsea Manning was a person who became who entered the military as a man and made a transition. So is a trans woman under Barack Obama. Okay. And she then had a gender identity as a female. Sometimes I can't wrap my brain. Okay. So they were born as a boy and then became identified as a female. So Chelsea was born Bradley. Okay. So it was Bradley Manning, but then identified as Chelsea. In any event, this individual had been imprisoned from 2010 to 2017, and the sentence was commuted by President Barack Obama. Whew. So it was the trans issue that was in play even back then. Who knew all the way back then during the Obama administration that this trans issue would be so front and center? You see, it was already in the works back then when Biden was the Veep. Biden just continued on what Obama started. It was really Obama who wanted to push a lot of this trans and gender identity stuff that we're seeing flourishing now, started under Obama, not Biden. 855-839-1210. I got to take a quick break. Be right back.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
A heat advisory is in effect today. It'll be partly sunny with a high 95, feeling more like 100. Watch out for some strong to severe storms possible by the evening. Shower and storm chances continue tonight, low 72. And Thursday, partly sunny, becoming less humid, high near 90.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before. We now have more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world, protecting America, fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. Favor to ask of you, please don't give up your summer vacation, all right? The kids, the memories that'll last forever. And I know times are tough, but the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey makes getting away affordable and possible. Book a June or July midweek stay, and you're going to receive resort credits that you can use on site. That's right, they're going to give you money to use on site in the form of resort credits. And they have the big outdoor heated pool, the heated indoor pool if the weather's bad at the beach. The longer you stay, the more you get back in resort credits. They offer guest rooms, suites, and townhomes equipped with a kitchenette, so it's like renting a short home, but with all the conveniences of a full-service resort, except you don't have to worry about doing the sheets and the towels. You get the amenities of a resort, but you also get the kitchenette, the fridge. Book direct with them for the best rates and to get your resort credits. 800-257-8550, or visit them online at grandhotelcapemay.com. This offer is good until July 18th, so act today, grandhotelcapemay.com.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we have absolutely incredible offers and a plethora of both new and certified Volvos from which to choose. We are eager to offer amazingly competitive prices, plus an additional $1,000 Costco discount on all new Cherry Hill Volvos. When leasing or purchasing a new or certified Cherry Hill Volvo, you become a valued part of our team. Join Cherry Hill Volvo for the pricing and attention you deserve. I am Judith Krupnick, president of Cherry Hill Volvo.
Tune in to Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Phil Cannella and Joanne Small. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210.
Window Nation presents the 1210 WPHT Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation. Listen the first Wednesday of every month as Kale & Company shines a spotlight on a local veteran, highlighting their remarkable commitment to the community and their exceptional service in the military. Presented by Window Nation. At Window Nation, there's nothing more important than giving back to the communities we serve. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head, and just over $30,000. That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask like 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. Optima Tax Relief. They're the best in the business.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
For details, visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules.
See Joe Conklin in the city Rhythm Orchestra in a tribute to Philly sports fans on the Boardwalk in Ocean City, New Jersey, Saturday, July 13th. For tickets, go to JoeConklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
Space may be the final frontier, but it's also what a lot of us lack in our basement or garage. By switching to a Navien tankless water heater, not only will you have all the hot water you need whenever you need it, but you'll gain storage area as well. Maybe a place to display your space collectibles. Highly logical. Learn about Navien's series of high-efficiency tankless water heaters and how they don't just save space, but save dollars on your utility bills too. For more, go to tanklessmadesimple.com.
Do you feel like you're going through life clouded by doubt? Talk to California Psychics. Our trusted and accurate psychics are available 24/7. And we guarantee, if it's not life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers get 80% off their first reading. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Don't let them silence you. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
So there's a new study. I didn't need a study for if they paid somebody for this study, it's irksome because we know they should have asked us. Traffic in Philadelphia is terrible. That's the new study. Oh gee, thanks for that one. Who paid for this study? Traffic delays in Philadelphia, we're number 6. So we're not the worst. So there's that. We got that going for us, which is nice. But the analytics, and it's at INRIX, they were looking at these numbers. They say that Philadelphia ranks number 6 in the nation in traffic delay times. Of course, New York City comes in first, then Chicago, then Los Angeles. I will say this, especially post-pandemic, that if you commute in New York, especially New York or I'll say Chicago, I would say then you come back to Philadelphia, then you say, oh, thank God, because the traffic in New York or Chicago is a freaking nightmare. As far as Los Angeles, I don't think because I've spent a lot of time in LA, I actually think everything is about 20 to 25 minutes away. I don't think LA really has the type of congestion that we have here on the East Coast. Why? Because we have older cities. Even Chicago, because of the Chicago fire, was built on a grid, is a little better. So East Coast cities, because we're older cities, we're just going to, look at the Schuylkill Expressway. It's wind. Why are our roads so windy like they are? Because they're very old roads dating back to the beginning of the country. Whereas younger, more modern cities, they're going to have the luxury of being built on a grid, and just having wider roads, more roads, etc. So I would say with that's why I-76, the Schuylkill, is known as one of the most dangerous highways in America. It is so windy because really, where are you going to build? That's why they always talk about the double decker. Well, and I don't like that double decker idea. I just don't. It freaks me out. 855-839-1210. But how much do you spend because of sitting in traffic and all the delays? Those delays that cost us sitting in traffic, $1,200. So they say there's a 7%, say this 10 times fast, spike in people who travel into Center City, which is good news for businesses. And I think this is part of post-pandemic. Sherelle Parker wants to make it more than 7%. TikTok, remember, mid-July, city workers are fighting going back to work. Oh my goodness, they're so triggered. I loved it when some of the unions came out and said, oh, no, this is negotiable if you want us to come back. I love it because I think for those of us who never stopped, I think the city of Philadelphia should give us like what would you say, a bonus, because we kept on working. The same with all the cops, the firefighters, the sanitation workers. So if some people are saying that they deserve a bonus and more money for finally, July 15th of 2024, that they deserve more money to come back in person, how about the rest of us? Because I never stopped. We were Jimmy Kelly, Sean, we deserve, right? Don't we deserve a bonus? We were coming in. How much do we deserve, Jimmy?
Oh, I think we should get at least about a $2,000 bump.
$2,000?
Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, you know what?
How about the federal dollars? What about Biden? Show me the money.
I'm bad at negotiating. I want to get you to negotiate
Come on,
my
man.
next check.
Where is Sean over there? I can't even see because we got this big column in here. I don't know if Sean Serino can hear me, but I just think, I'm saying pandemic, we never stopped working.
No.
And for the cops especially, firefighters, first responders, sanitation workers, come on, prison guards, correctional facility. I'm saying they deserve like another 10 grand each. They never stopped.
No.
10 grand at least. For the first, what do you think? First responders.
I'd say it's got to be well over 10 grand.
Over 10,
police,
20?
fire, I'd say 30.
30?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jimmy Kelly's, I think you're onto something here.
Yeah, I'd say 30.
30? All right, 30 G's. For the cops, because, they had to get the shot. They had to get the shot or they were fired, right? If you're so during the COVID, right? During the pandemic. I'm just saying, we have all this money, this COVID money. I think for those individuals who kept on working, coming in, and the cops were called in for those mandatory 12-hour shifts. Yeah, I'm just thinking big bucks. Show me the money.
But here's the issue, though. If you're a city worker and you're refusing to come back to work, shouldn't they just say, look, all right, if you don't want to come back to work, there's like 20 other people who want this job. Don't let the door hit you somewhere.
Yeah.
Don't let the door hit you, because I can guarantee you one thing. People like you, me, and Sean, if we had said we don't want to come in during the pandemic, what do you think that they're going to tell us? Well,
bye-bye.
There are about 100 people who want to do this job, and if you don't like it, well, then you could find yourself somewhere else to work. Yeah. It's that easy.
Yeah.
To where you could do that.
Now, it's a union issue for Sherelle Parker. So you're looking at like 4,000 people. 4,000 people in the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They're still, as I speak, they're still zooming it in.
Yeah.
I think we should start going down the list. They should release the list, and we should start calling these individuals at home and just say, what are you doing? What are you doing now?
Yeah, you're not exactly working at this point.
Right?
Even when you're at City Hall, you're not exactly working.
Well, but doesn't it make those who are working in person have to Because there are just certain things when you're in person, you're probably going to end up picking up the slack.
Exactly. And that's what a lot of us did here. A lot of us picked up the slack. And when things were starting to clear up a little bit, they told everybody here, you got to come back. They told the host too, look, we're done with the access units or whatever they are. They're great, but no, you got to come back to the studio. We didn't spend billions of dollars building this facility for you to sit home. It's a live and local radio station. It's a live and local radio station.
Yes.
Okay? We built these studios for a reason.
Yes, we did. You know, I wanted to do a quick follow-up before we go to break. Remember I had reported, I think it was late last week, on that bear in Delaware, just roaming through some Delaware neighborhoods. And one lady had shown the bear who went for a little swim, was on her back deck, went for a swim in her pool, was probably trying to cool off because it was a heat wave. And so I don't know the circumstances, if this was a distracted driver or what was going on, but it's kind of sad. It's not a big bear. It's like a juvenile bear. And the bear was struck by a driver, by a motorist, and in the road. And the poor bear died. I mean, it's sad. It was a kind of a cute little bear. I don't think he hurt anybody. But their DelDOT put out the word, and they said the driver of the vehicle was not injured. I guess the bear ran out into the road, and so the bear was killed. They're saying, watch out. We have all this with the heat and then the storms coming in this evening. Just, be aware of wildlife on the run. That was the, it's called Delaware, and had all these sightings and all these people. That's kind of sad. So the bear had died, was hit by a car. Well, if it's a deer, have you ever hit a deer? The damage to the car. A deer ran out in front of my husband the other morning. You should see the damage that those things cost. It's unbelievable. It's like $10,000 in damage. I think the bear, though, caused no damage to her car. But if you hit a deer, that is some serious damage, and you could be injured too. So beware. That's the warning from Delaware. I'm being serious. Beware of the bears. Delaware was killed. That little black bear. That's sad. 855-839-1210. I have some other developing stories. We want to go through it. Be right back.
Thursday night, the debate, Biden and Trump. And you can hear it here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
To surrender to bullies, to bow down to dictators is simply unthinkable.
Within moments of taking the oath of office, I will seal the border, stop the invasion, and send Joe Biden's illegal aliens back home.
Then Walter Sterling will be live immediately following the debate to take your reaction live. The CNN presidential debate, Thursday at 9 on CNN and simulcast here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-688-6641. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-688-6641. That's 800-688-6641.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free.
with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit, hims.com/joy.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you ready for retirement? Have you prepared everything you need? Well, in Investor Schooling, we will teach you ways to better prepare for your retirement using real estate and the stock market. But you need to learn how to do it right, and that's what we teach. At Investor Schooling, we sell nothing but education. Come to Investor Schooling and learn how to have a better retirement. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now for this Thursday's class at 7 o'clock. Go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
Tired of your old kitchen or bathroom? Then you need to give Kitchen Magic a call. They offer no shortage of solutions for any room in your home. With a new vanity and a tub shower conversion, you'll love that new bathroom. Plus an industry-leading warranty, a 10-year recipient of Lehigh Valley's top workplaces. Right now, they're offering 12 months of no payments, no interest financing with 10% off your remodel. Get your free in-home consultation today at kitchenmagic.com. That's kitchenmagic.com.
The following is a paid commercial message.
Using credit cards could soon become a hassle in Pennsylvania. Some in the legislature are considering a multi-million-dollar giveaway to corporate megastores and may force you to pay for parts of your purchase in cash, while small businesses will have to manage an accounting nightmare. This mandate could also expose information about the private purchases you make. Prevent credit card chaos at guardyourcard.com/Pennsylvania. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com. Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Patriotism under fire. This is a despicable crime happening and a call to catch whoever is responsible for this. So it's called Flags for Heroes, and it was created by the Audubon, Haddon Township, Oakland Rotary Club during the pandemic, okay? And they decided to have this tradition of all of these flags, 100 American flags that fill this area off Kings Highway, okay? And it's a tribute to our veterans right ahead of July 4th. And this is unthinkable what has happened here with somebody desecrating this memorial. The South Jersey community very upset after the American flag display was burned and vandalized. So this is a piece of the report by 6ABC's Corey Davis. I know you care about this. Listen in.
Flag display here along Kings Highway in Audubon, and look at the scorch marks down here, some of the vandalism that the organizers have been telling us about, flags ripped out of the poles here. This flag display has about 100 American flags honoring local veterans, and someone came in here, or maybe people came in here and destroyed some of them, vandalizing this area. The organizers are saying that this is disrespectful and disheartening.
It's just, they need to know the sacrifice that these men and women made.
Yeah, and so that's just it. You have the Audubon, Haddon Township, Oakland Rotary Club speaking out. That's Joe Miller, the president-elect of the Rotary Club, and that's just it. This is a case where even if they're vandals that are teenagers goofing off or whatever, this is one of those cases where the parents, first of all, should have to pay for the cleanup, pay to restore this, and pay a fine. But get those kids working with veterans. They have to volunteer 100 hours of community service, if indeed that's what this is about. So at this point, the police and the detectives, because this is a crime, so as they investigate, they don't believe that this was politically motivated because, after all, we're talking about a tribute to military veterans. But it's just, to me, that's such a disgrace. And they need to, upon the investigation, they can't just slap somebody on the wrist for that. They have to let us know about it. They need to make sure that whoever did this pays. And I believe, and that'll shut this down. That's just not acceptable. And you think about, like you said, the sacrifice that our military makes. And that's the way as well. It's important to enforce those laws and to say, no, you can't do this. But it's important as well that those individuals who disrespected our veterans and vandalized, burned, caused all that damage, that they're held fully accountable so that people can see you don't defund the police, right? You don't desecrate these memorials. That all goes hand in hand, that it's not okay to show this disrespect through the desecration of memorials that honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. I'm also going to tell you this morning, as we watch the Supreme Court, will they release more of their rulings? Probably not today. So that leaves us, can you even imagine if they release the report tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock that involves the J6er right here from Pennsylvania? It stems from a Pennsylvania man, former police officer. Can you imagine that breaks on the very day of the big POTUS debate that's live tomorrow night, 9 p.m., between, of course, Trump and Biden, and that becomes a talking point? Yow. That would be incredible. We are under, I'll just say this, be safe as you travel today, because we have some serious weather alerts and warnings. Obviously the heat advisory, but it looks like we could have hail, heavy rain, storms, whipping winds, and potentially some dangerous stormy weather moving through. And that'll be this evening, this afternoon, this evening, could affect the evening rush, in fact. And so this goes through the entire Pennsylvania, Delaware, South Jersey, and especially Berks, Bucks, Chester, Delaware, Lancaster, Lehigh, Montgomery, Philadelphia, Northampton, those counties, especially Delaware, Kent, and Newcastle, and then all of South Jersey. So I hope you are safe as you're traveling this evening for sure, because even though we need the rain and we will welcome this cold front, the other issue, of course, is that we could have some damaging winds and storms. So we hope we don't have any more damage for sure. I want to say something about the rip currents, and I want to talk more about the drownings and the rip current situation. I'm going to have an expert talking about what to do, how to handle that rip current, because you never want to fight it, right? Because the rip current is right in front of that. If you're swimming, it's not going to go on forever. So if you let it carry you a little bit, swim with it, and then make your way in and not fight it. We're seeing these drownings. We're seeing too many of them. And these are by adults, many of them adults who are known as good swimmers. But we do have some rip current statements, and this goes to South Jersey, especially the eastern part of Monmouth. But this is Cape May, Ocean County. So I have families all along, up and down the shore, family members and the kids. I'm always texting them, be safe, watch out for the rip currents, swim between the flags, right? Watch for the green flags. And if you have family members who are visiting, make sure they know about the flags. And then, too, a lot of times we see these drownings happen because people wait until after the lifeguards leave. Now, during the height of the season right now, and we can talk more about I love the Jersey Shore, I do. But, a lot of people wait for the lifeguards to leave, and that's when they go in. Those lifeguards down the shore are incredible. The training they go through, they're awesome. And I think we have some of the best lifeguards in the nation right here in our region. My husband, his late great dad, yes, John Robert Menti, was a lifeguard. He's native from Atlantic City and was an AC lifeguard. And you see those books and calendars of the AC lifeguards and the history. He was one of them. And so we're so proud of my Michael, of course, who's following the family tradition, the Menti tradition, and he's a lifeguard, because of our little niece Joni, back when she was 4 years old, drowned in a local swimming pool. And it was a pool where, tragically, even though it was a very nice pool, guess what? The lifeguards, in fact, it turned out they did not have the certification, and the pool wasn't properly marked. And so it was one of those things you have to watch so carefully when the swimming pool, and they have a gradual, it's getting deeper, and they're not properly marked. It can happen in seconds. So just a thought about that, because I know so many of you are headed down the shore, especially I know it's the big Jason Kelsey, the autism fundraiser for our Philadelphia Eagles. They're down there. They're out down there in Sea Isle this evening doing the fundraiser. Dom Giordano, for us, we're not lucky enough to be off today down the shore. Hard at work. Dom Giordano, so much breaking.
Yeah, Dawn, exactly. We have Dr. Ben coming by, Lee Zeldin, but the Supreme Court, in this case where the Biden administration destroying democracy, working over Facebook and all these others, that's exactly what they did to them. The Supreme Court chokes, and it's Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett again.
Yeah. Dom Giordano Show coming right up.
Have you questioned your doctor about symptoms like